This is the exact 90-day plan I walk every home buyer through, from planning to shopping, which is the fun part, and closing. And I want to tell you really fast about a couple I sat down with in June because their situation shows you something most buyers never get told. The plan isn't just about what to do, it's about whether you should even be starting the clock yet. On day one of our consult, we will go through budget, needs versus wants, timeline, and I walk through every contract you are going to sign before we've ever seen a house, before we've ever written a single offer. Most agents skip that part entirely, and I'll come back to why that matters in just a second, because it ends up being one of the biggest differences between a smooth closing and a smooth process and a very stressful one. And here's what came out of that buyer consultation. I told them to wait. The husband's likely getting a raise in September, and that raise could change which neighborhoods are in reach for them. They're renting right now, so no lease is forcing a decision. So 3 months of patience could land them somewhere completely different than just jumping in a couple of months ago. So if you're thinking about buying in the next 90 days, here's how that timeline should go and what's happening at each stage. And this next part is for my father-in-law, who is a retired Navy captain. He loves to think about things in phases. So that's what we're going to do today. Phase 1, planning. So this is going to be days 1 through 10. This is the phase you'll naturally want to skip to get to the fun part, which is seeing houses. And it's the one that decides whether you move fast and confident the second the right house shows up, or you're still figuring out the basics while the house you love goes under contract to someone else. Day 1 is sitting down with me or a realtor of your choice and getting clear on your budget, your needs versus your wants, and your timeline. Not a percentage of income rule that you found online. Your number based on your situation. What's coming in, what's going out, and what an actual mortgage payment actually looks like for you. This is also the time when I walk you through the contracts that you will sign before any of it is attached to a specific house that you're already in love with, and you're scrambling and you're stressed and you're trying to figure out what everything means. Here in Georgia, that means the GAR contract, which stands for Georgia Association of Realtors. This is just our standard contracts that we use here. This is the amendments, the disclosures, what due diligence protects you from, how earnest money works and what happens to it, what a home inspection amendment does if something comes back on the inspection report, what a backup offer is, and when you should use one and when you shouldn't, what all of it means. And I'd rather you hear all of this from me now with zero pressure than finding out what a clause means when you're staring down a 3-hour deadline with real money on the line. Read a contract you already understand, and it's just a contract. Read one you don't, and every page feels like a trap, and you're overwhelmed, and you're trying to figure out what you're getting yourself into. Right after that, before anything else, talk to a lender, get pre-approved. And listen, don't just settle for some general letter over an email saying you're pre-approved for X amount. Ask for a fee sheet based on your specific situation. So the down payment that you're going to need, your closing cost, the cash that you would need to bring to the closing table. Make sure your lender is factoring in property taxes too, because in Atlanta, taxes can swing your monthly payment more than you would expect depending on the neighborhood. 2 homes at the same price in 2 different areas can land you at different monthly payments once taxes are factored in. One more thing worth knowing, a pre-approval is typically good for 120 days. So you're not redoing a hard credit pull every few weeks while you're shopping. Next is your exit plan for your current home. So this is going to be your lease timeline if you're renting, or maybe getting your current home ready to go on the market if you already own. And the rest of the first 10 days is honestly just rounding out your team. So figuring out what home inspector you're going to use. Most agents can recommend people that they use all the time, or you want to do your research and use your own person. And this keeps you from Googling home inspector near me the same day that you go under contract and that inspection time starts ticking. This is also where I would tell you to get particular about the agent that you choose, not someone chasing a paycheck, someone who's going to be your advisor from the offer through the inspection all the way to closing. Someone tracking every deadline in the contract and telling you about it before it matters, not after, because those deadlines are what keep your earnest money and you protected. Phase 2, shopping for the house. This is the fun part. So this is going to be days 11 to 70. This could be a little longer, could be a little shorter, but this is where most of your 90 days is likely going to live. And it's where the planning starts paying you back. Sit with your agent and get a game plan. So your budget, your location, your needs, your wants, your pre-approval, so they can tell you honestly where it lines up with what's currently on the market and where it doesn't. Then get set up on an actual MLS search, not just Zillow or Redfin. Our MLS search, it updates before those apps do. So this could be the difference between hearing about a house today versus hearing about one after somebody already wrote an offer. I also highly recommend every buyer go to open houses, whether you're ready to buy or not, even the ones that you don't think are quite the right fit. It's the fastest way to find out what you actually want versus what you thought you wanted from photos. You'll walk into a home with an open floor plan that you swore you needed and realize that the kitchen feels cold in person. You'll walk into one with a smaller yard than what you thought you wanted and realize that the location makes up for it completely. That clarity doesn't happen scrolling at 11 at night. It happens standing in the space. Same with neighborhoods themselves. Don't put yourself in this position where you're looking at the entire metro Atlanta area. The actual pockets. If you cast too wide of a net on an area, it makes it harder. There's just too much to choose from. Too many different streets and price points competing for your attention. Get clear on a particular area and it gets a lot easier to move when the right home hits the market. Each pocket has its own pace, its own feel, and its own reasons homes either sit or they move. Drive through on a random Tuesday evening and you'll pick up on things no listing photos will show you. How close you are to a main road, whether this street feels quiet or it feels like a cut through, how far that walkable strip actually is once you've done it on foot. By the time that you find the one, you're not learning the contract for the first time while you're also trying to negotiate a price. You already did that work back on day one. So you move fast because none of it's new and it just makes for a much more knowledgeable and confident decision. Phase 3, this is going to be your road to closing on your new house. And typically here in Georgia, from the time that you get your offer accepted to the day you get the keys typically runs around 21 to 30 days. It happens pretty fast. This part runs mostly through your agent and your lender, but almost none of it feels unfamiliar because you plan for it. This is when you will do your home inspection, and if something comes back, whether it's a plumbing issue or an HVAC issue, whatever the case may be, you already know how to handle it instead of panicking. And this is also the time when an attorney here in Georgia, because we close with attorneys here, this is when they will do a title search and your lender will order and confirm the home's value by ordering an appraisal. And this is also when your lender will send you a closing disclosure, which is a document with your final numbers. This is going to have your interest rate, your closing cost, your mortgage payment, all locked in. You will also do a final walkthrough on your home before you sign the paperwork, and then you go sign and it's yours. 10 days to plan, 60 to shop, which I will tell you, most people don't take that long, but maybe you do. 20 to 30 to close. And sometimes the smartest 90-day plan is knowing when to actually start. I've got a full homebuyer guide available as a free download linked in the description below. It's full of terms and information that will help you through this whole process. My contact info is also in the description if you want to work together. If this was helpful, watch this next video. I've got a complete breakdown of exactly what closing costs are and how much you should expect to pay. I hope to see you over there.